Welcome to Kickstarter Radio 102.4, and today we're looking at Guardians of Fire, otherwise known as a dungeon crawler, and it's coming from Dublin, Ireland. Oh, so top of the morning to you. I'm from Ireland myself, County Mayo, but Dublin's a fine city, it sure is. Now, what is going on here then? Well, it's past its goal, but there's a few things here where if I've got any recommendations for the team, it's to cancel. Well, I've got two routes. Either cancel the Kickstarter and come back in 6 months, or do what Ice Fairy and Guard did, where they prolonged the stretch manager to a certain point, where when the game was ready to be shipped, they delayed shipping. Or when they got the production copy through, before they pushed the button to print everything, they basically got it out to Kickstarter people, and they kind of played it so they could fall in love with the project, and then people had a window to back it. Once people late backed it, then they pressed the green light to produce it. That's what Ice Fairy and Guard did, because on the face of it here, oh dear, it feels like it needed to go in the oven and get cooked a little more, in my opinion. Now, before I go down, I just want to tell you what the route was of some big whopping dungeon crawlers on Kickstarter in the past. So we had Gloomhaven first Kickstarter. Nobody knew what Gloomhaven was. The reviews started coming out, and then everyone was saying how amazing it was, and then out popped the Gloomhaven 1.5. Excuse me. Madara was a Kickstarter, which very late Kickstarter, but they just did like one box, and when that came out and got reviewed, everyone was saying how good it was, and then they popped out Madara Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. And with Arena the Contest, which was a skirmish game and a campaign, the campaign was so good they brought out Tanari's Adventures after all the reviews were in of how good the adventures were in in Arena the Contest. Get the trend here. The trend is to do one Kickstarter of your main box, and with confidence that it's going to get high reviews, you prepare for your second Kickstarter so people can come back and get that game, and that's when you can sell all of these boxes. That is what I suggest, and I think with just under 300 backers at the minute, I don't think they would be too concerned if you did come back in the future. So cancel it and come back, because if you look at my last video that I did of Collab, they cancelled last year and they've come back so strong on Kickstarter. They're on Kickstarter now, and it's amazing what they've done in that time. So I still have hope for this game, but my biggest concern is it's not going to get the attention it's deserved of it. Anyway. Now, so there's some really good things that are hiding in the updates. I just want to go to one update page, and it's the last one. And it's kind of showing you the minis. These are the ones that are unlocking. And they have one here, this Brute. Fantastic piece of art, showing you the art on the team is really cool. Look at this mini. It looks so good. It's like Games Workshop quality. It's like outstanding work what this team is doing. So good. They've announced solo mode. And this needed to come out at the gate saying this was coming, because it's pointless having people asking for it. It should be a campaign thing. Dungeon crawlers all coming with one, you can play it with one. But it is now up here, 1-5. I think it should say like solo mode coming in, like it's a thing. Now then. Minis aside, I mean, when we're looking at it like this, you can't see the base, so it looks like less real than it could be. A base here though, and it looks nice, I'm guessing. But here we go, 1-5, 90 minutes, 40 plus replayable content, 15-hour campaign. So jolly good. It's bordering on the RPG world as well, so that's kind of cool. It just looks like a complete mess, this photo. If you go and look at like the Madara picture where it shows the contents, or Arena of the Contests, how they do the pictures of the whole of the box, it so looks better, and there's like a trend that should have been followed here, because this is just looking insanely busy. I mean, I can see there's one big mini, could be the boss, and can't even see the dungeon crawl board here. Anyhow, unlock stretch goals. So this tier then, it looks like he's standing on a tiny rock. I mean, how does that work? Soundtracks are coming in. Valuable cards. Are these not item cards? Solo mode game is there. Farouk Naz. They have these strange, like, bookmark cards with them. Colourful pouches. Could have had the Guardians of Fire emblazed on that. And again, a lot of these minis don't have bases, but the trend is certainly to put bases with a little bit of terrain about them, you know, give them more dynamic pose. These are all look like they're taking a photo at Gen Con dressed as these, you know. I mean, if they're taking a photo at Gen Con, they're going to be a bit more dynamic, hopefully. Sisters of Sin, they're looking super dynamic. Ghoul looks like it's walking. The Brute here. You get what I'm saying. They could be more dynamic. Now, each player gets the mini, gets their player board, their own dice for their character, set of pegs, and a pawn. What a pawn! Pawns! Cluedo? Why is pawns there? That could have been the bust of Asarin as an update instead of a pawn. I mean, come on. So talk about being undercooked. We don't have then representations for this stuff. And what's going on here? You've got minis and acrylic standees. What? You rather do standees or you do minis? Having like a mix of them on the table is like weird, isn't it? Now, this guy has worked on, you know, in the industry, in the Guardians of Fire. He's been working on this for 8 years. It's a comic strip, and it's made its way. So there's a lot of lore here. Mark Street Dice Tower, epic storytelling, push your luck aspect, dungeon crawl, great story, engaging, rich world. So it has like interesting pedigree here. Now, when we looked at the update, the quality of that mini was so nice. But when you come down the Kickstarter page, honestly, this video is Quad HD, right? It's 1440p. It looks this bad when you come down here. It's like JPEG set at low quality. You just don't see Kickstarters with this bad quality. I mean, look at it. It looks like it's a Kickstarter from 10 years ago. So yeah, this is like a concern that you can't see this up high res, and it's get popular where we get to see some rotation of minis. I don't know, it's just not selling the minis that much. We've got the custom dice here, and a lot of this has been put together in Photoshop, I'm guessing, and it doesn't look like it's good. And there are companies that do design Kickstarters for companies, and you'll see that on the collab page. If you look at the collab Kickstarter I covered yesterday, amazing work that the third-party team did for them to make their Kickstarter look amazing and show off the game as good as they could. I think this, if it comes back as a second Kickstarter, it really needs to address the presentation style, because it really is looking not anywhere near as what it should be, and in fact it's a shame that it's not doing it any better. The tiles look super low res, and you could definitely do a feature of how good the tiles are. I just think it's just one giant picture, and this is why it's like, why didn't you just cut this up into separate pictures? Why did you need this big long thing? I think that could be why it's so low res. Boards themselves, they look like they're dual layered, not like it's presenting that to you. And the characters, a summoner, a healer, a mage, and it looks like some kind of light. There's no classic warrior archer. You're all like a set of mages, so that's kind of what makes it interesting. So you're all looking like you're wearing light armor. I like that. Kind of new spin on dungeon crawling, isn't it? Super low quality, can't even make out what these tokens are. It just, you know, these cards of the items look so low res, I can't even read what they are. It's such a shame. For example, the Chronicle book, this is the 50-hour campaign. Like, go to the Madara Kickstarter, they had like, this is what our campaign looks like, and they had like a little gif of flicking through the campaign book. It was massive. And you need to sell people how amazing that is. But I just think it's like this Kickstarter was created in a vacuum, and they've not looked at what other Kickstarters have done for dungeon crawls. Because you really should be able to copy what they're doing, but copy their presentation, that is what I'm saying, and it'll look a lot better. So if it's in the oven and they cancel this Kickstarter, it comes out down the pipe, all these minis would not look like this. They would look like the actual mini. And this is the exclusive that's coming, and it's another mage. So you're all going to be clothies. The game is based on comics of the same name, and the comics here that they're talking about, which is like a graphic novel, they are absolutely part of the pledge, the big pledge. Now you can click the Chronicle mission, but I mean, even these small pictures are super low res. I mean, what's going on? How did this get green lit? I don't know, because the queue for Kickstarter, if you want a Kickstarter at the minute, is roughly 4 to 5 months. So they've had so much time to get this ready. And I don't understand, if you're a first-time Kickstarter, even though they've got 3 created here, you should have pre-launch pages and send those pages to Kickstarter channels, and just, can you ask them to have a look at it? I mean, just say, have a flick through my Kickstarter, what do you think of it? Just give them a quick nod and they'll say, man, your pictures are so low res, like, put more detail on your book and stuff. Anyhow. Choose character, take his or her cards and items for your setup. If you've got fewer abilities, you've got to divide the characters evenly around you. The way it's looking, though, I don't think it's as complex as it looks. Certainly not as complex as Madara. It's definitely simplified. Choose a player who will take the role of the Angra and his minions. So this needs a dungeon master, and determine the initiative order, and that's where they've got these dirty pegs. Looks like that's coming from a bag, so that's kind of a randomized initiative, and really initiative, I prefer initiative coming from the speed of the character or something. It's predetermined from the stats of the characters or the enemy you're fighting. I don't like this random draw. Anyhow, take a prop from the pouch to use as an action. Yeah, so I'm guessing some of these discs do certain things and the pawn is another thing. Getting to see a little bit of the boards here. Move, search, attack, manifest a prayer. The anger phase, draw a darkness card, activate monsters on the board, summon reinforcement, move darkness forward. It's like and it's like you're going down a corridor, this dungeon, isn't it? So the game continues until the scenario victory is met or the player characters are defeated by the minions of darkness. Now, when it says scenario, it's like, are your characters not growing? Does the story not continue? Do you not meet NPCs? Like, is it just scenario, like a Zombicide is, where there's not much character development? Because like that is a worrying sign here that they don't suggest, even suggesting a scenario. If it's bordering on an RPG, should it not have progression? Heavy progression? So here we go then. It's a core pledge. This is what I would have preferred to have seen. The one core box, and you put a lot of focus and energy on showing this on the page. Having these other boxes and this egregious 299 box, when that is like a massive risk at this stage. You know, it's like you're kickstarting content that people, it's like this is what people will be put off by, because at the minute core pledge comes out in the future, reviews are out, Guardians of Fire is so good, you get everybody's tails up about it, then you do Guardians of Fire 1.5 and you say, look, we've got expansions for it. This is what we should see on the second Kickstarter. It's almost, I don't know why you'd want to throw all this in, because it's so intimidating to put all this on and think you're going to miss this stuff. So, ouch. So the epic all in here, should that not be gameplay all in? Because the epic everything here is throwing in comics and sleeves, a book of monsters. So there we go. Stretch goals though, this is nice because they're doing dailies. This horizontal character card is really odd. Soundtrack nice. There's like 2 dailies hidden there, isn't there? Assassin, so we get a melee, but still wearing cloth. We've got another clothy, human form. She charms and deceives the people with her dark magic. So this is like heavily cloth based. That's what kind of interesting. More valuable cards in the game, but we don't know what they are. It feels like it's early production, right? But if you look at the pledge, it says December 2022. I mean, you've got a lot of work on your plate to fit that in. Especially when all these minis and stuff look preview. Punches in main colours. Is that a punch? It's not a dice bag. It was a punch. Okay. Scissors of Sins looking good. New cards for people. A Circle of Light. Source. Touch magic. Couldn't get more boring, could it? Circle of Light. I mean, you should be showing the spell on these cards. It's really like, oh, I don't know. I just think it definitely needs to get baked more. So that's what I feel. Printed A4 poster, like, this is like adding on those. Day 6, you've got the mini and you get the poster, okay. This amazing guy, we saw the mini at the beginning of the video, and new cards for the darkness box. So the stuff that they're putting out in the dailies is impressive, the content you're getting, but again, mixing acrylic standees in with beasts is kind of, with plastic minis is really strange. Stuff here, not even finished, still in its kind of design phase. And that is just the main box. Anyway, here we go. Mini looking nice and dynamic, casting a fireball looking great. He's got his prayer cards, upgrade tokens, but character development through the 50-hour campaign was that. Summoner of the Phoenix. We've got this guy, looks like he's casting, I guess it's a fireball. This guy casting a bigger fireball. Should he not be summoning animals? I don't know. Should there not be a mini for his summons? I don't know. We got the healer. I like that everyone gets their own dice there, of course. The Seeker of Light. Another one casting some kind of fireball. The Phoenix Creature. The Phoenix Creature. Is that not the summon? I don't know. Then we've got the enemy bosses all looking nasty. I like the fact that they've got like this bard as an enemy. That's cool. And the enemy types looking fantastic, yeah. Despite their quality being extremely low. We get a little bit of the tiles here looking nice. So 12 of these big ones. You get some thin corridor ones and then a giant courtyard size. These look like they're double-sided. And custom dice, rule book, and it's like 8 equipment cards. Are you kidding me? A 50-hour campaign and only 8 equipment cards. What is going on here? 30 search cards. Like, in a 50-hour campaign, there's only 30 searchable things. Yeah, so pawns. Don't like pawns. Prop some of them in wood. We're getting components of wounds, then focus dark. It just looked like it could have, you know, if you're gonna just bring the main box, you could have had this as like add-ons where you acrylic, put them all acrylic tokens. That would have been nice. And here we're going expansion. Then that should have been on a later Kickstarter. So this is extending the story. This guy's looks like he's got mail armor on, so this guy is our first non-clothy. There's going to be guards and got more enemies, and it looks like a generic gaming mat. More boards. Again, this should be coming back on a second Kickstarter. So we've got our tank character then, Templar, in this next expansion with a healer class that is also in heavy. This is like the heavy set, isn't it? We get the 4 knights. That's it. That box is basically the heavy box. The Holy Order. And the Temple of Destiny then. Another healer. Not healer, sorry. I'm not going on about that. This is our first archer, but she's wearing like not even light armor, like her negligee. And so these are like wearing next to nothing in this box. And we do get some enemy types in this box. So that one's like a mini one. The Temple of Destiny. And we got the Book of Monsters. That's coming on the bigger pledges. So core pledge then. Yes, the City of Damned is like the real expansion content. The other stuff is just some more classes and a few enemies, but you probably wouldn't want to get it all if you were in here for the full dungeon crawl. Comics is nice to be here, I'm guessing. Book of Monsters. Sleeves, definitely, that sounds good. And more enemy types. I think Existence of Silence are enemies. No, they're hero bots. There's the heroes. And there is a new chronicle with 6 missions with these in. So that's kind of more content. Alright, the videos are out. They're impressed by it. Definitely are impressed. The journey of the game, absolutely. And quite fairly, I'd say, large team for an indie group, that's for certain. And shipping is up in the air, of course. Let's go back up to the top and check the FAQ because we need to see a little bit more. Minis at PBC. Customs friendly. It says, yep, VAT. No VAT. We cover all costs. Your VAT is included. So, excellent. That's good news, isn't it? It is coming in English. That is true. Updates are fun to go through, but for me, it's a little bit of a risk. You're going to have to be like a collector of dungeon crawlers to come here and angel invest it. I definitely feel like it could cancel and come back, and it would get way more backers if it just took the time to develop the game a little bit more and get like a third-party game like the Mesa Labs team that do Kickstarters. Just look at the collab Kickstarter, second Kickstarter, and you'll see the difference. They really sexify it up. So that's what I mean. People want to see like the contents of the box properly instead of all these previews, and it looks like an early concept, even though you're expecting to deliver it this year. Seems like way too much to do, especially with the second expansion box and having to design all the minis and all that. It seems like you're cramming a lot of work in such a short amount of time. So yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for the campaign. You've got a campaign page that has low quality images which don't give off a professional look. You've got amazing stuff happening in the updates. That should be more on the main page. There should be more focus on the campaign, talking about the RPG and all that stuff would be nice. And you know, just focus more on the main box, and I would get rid of the other boxes. Because if Guardians of Fire comes out and it's well received, and then it comes out as a second Kickstarter, you've got so many eyes on it. Because the problem with this first Kickstarter is the presence of it online. Not many people's eyes are on this, and even so, when they come here, it's like we should be seeing way more of what we're actually seeing. So it definitely has potential, but I feel, I don't know, underwhelmed by what they've done here, and I think they could do a lot better if they had more time. So yeah, do we recommend it? Not really. It just feels too early, and the amount of ambition they've got before the end, before they're sending it like within a year is like, seems like a lot. So on that bombshell, peeps, what do you think of Guardians of Fire? It's obviously not blowing up on Kickstarter, but yeah, do you agree with me? Put some comments down below. Am I being a bit harsh on this? I don't know. I mean, I love dungeon crawlers. I've got Gloomhaven, back Frosthaven, got Madara, Act 2 and 3 on the way, Tanaris Adventures. Like, I love Kickstarter dungeon crawls, and this one should really excite me. But it's just looking like less of what it should be. And that is a big shame for me. But if you like the content, please think about liking the video. And if you want to do anything to help the channel, please think about subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Lipstickpaddy. This has been Kickstarter Radio 102.4. You take care, stay safe, and bye-bye from me. Bye-bye.